The Senior Bowl is underway, and the weigh-in is an important part of the process. And today we're going to be talking about the winners and losers from the Senior Bowl weigh-in. And what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. If you use promo code Broshmo when you sign up, they will match your deposit, your first deposit, anywhere up to $100. So check out Underdog Fantasy, use promo code BROSHMO when you sign up. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker, starting with DAWAND Jones. He was the guy kind of like everybody was talking about immediately after it happened. Like it was wildly popular on Twitter. I mean, he literally broke the record for multiple of his measurements, like the 89 and a half inch wingspan, the arm length at over 6.5 inch or 36.5 inches, huge hands, coming in at 6'8", 375. Man, it was just overall very impressive. People are already talking about it, like, oh no, now he's top 20 before he even took the field. I wasn't one of those guys, but I think he really came out and actually he moved exceptionally well. This isn't like a Daniel Falele, which is a guy that I constantly bring up when I talk about DAWAND Jones, because these are two massive human beings. But when it comes to the mover, the flexibility, it's far different. The big reason why DAWAND Jones will probably be fringe first or early second round prospect compared to Falele, who ended up going in the fourth round. The big thing that separates him when DAWAND Jones is able to, able to sink his hips and actually keep up with defenders. Like, yeah, the footwork could be a bit sloppy, but that's something I imagine it will get better over time. If you have a mobile quarterback, a running quarterback, or you just run a very run power heavy scheme, then DAWAND Jones is gonna be your guy. This certainly did help him quite a bit, and why he is probably the biggest riser, quite literally the biggest riser when it comes to the Senior Bowl weigh-ins. Now let's go ahead, move to the next. I want to stick at the offensive tackle position with WANYA Morris, and particularly this cat came in 6'5", 317. But the measurements, I talked about him about a week or so ago, talking about Senior Bowl sleepers. And WANYA Morris was one of my sleepers just because he's a guy that we know has all the physical tools, has the athletic tools, just has yet to put them together. Came in with an 85 and 6/8 inch wingspan, 35 and 3/8 inch arms, like huge. He moves exceptionally well. I haven't got really to see any of his reps yet. I'm actually going to do that this morning that you're seeing this video. I'm recording this on a Tuesday night, but I'm going to watch the Senior Bowl, like the reps, Wednesday morning before the Wednesday practices. But I think really he came in and he kind of he just checks a lot of boxes. If he has a good performance this week, I think he gets into that day 2 conversation. So overall, very good showing from Morris. And I want to move over to let's talk about let's just call it a faller. I don't want to say loser, but Darius Davis. And we can actually talk about a few receivers here while we're at it. When we already knew he was undersized receiver, most of his production coming out of the slot. The thing that was kind of the saving grace of his draft stock was his return capabilities. But coming in at his size with his measurements, you just really see how limited of a receiver he's probably going to be at the next level, which are his return skills that good enough to make him draftable is now the question. Came in 5'8", 168. I thought this cat was going to come in at least around 175, maybe even close to 180. Wasn't the case. 68 inch wingspan. Very underwhelming. The arm length, we knew he's going to be undersized receiver, but coming in with 28 inch arms, typically you want the receiver's arms about be 30 inches. It's kind of the same way it goes for corners. But at 28 inches, and then the smallest hand size by far. It's 7 and 5/8 inches. Like, it's just not good. I don't think he's really gonna have to blow the pants off of some team here. Like, I don't know if he really has, if he's gonna be a draftable guy, maybe more of a priority UDFA. I think those measurements were pretty damning. We could talk about a few of the receivers I don't have here. I measured out because I know a lot of people are going to look at Derius Davis' size and be like, well, Nathaniel Dell, he came in 5'8", 163. Difference is the hands much bigger, like more than an inch bigger. And then Dell has 30-inch arms. So he actually hits that threshold. And on top of that, man, dude had a phenomenal. Any rep I saw from him, it was impressive. The route runner was crisp, speed, explosiveness, stop-start ability. I think he really solidified that day 2 status, just because of the size. Like, definitely not going to be a guy that can go into the first round, but probably a guy that could make it in the second round or maybe even top 50. I thought he looked exceptionally solid. We could take a look at a couple of others. Trey Palmer came in with ideal measurements. Haven't really seen anything from him, but like I said, I've only really seen clips on Twitter thus far. I haven't really sat down and watched the practices, the reps, the drills, and whatnot. Just clips at this point. We have I think Andre Yoshevez came in with pretty good measurements for a guy that's coming into this. It's like, okay, yeah, we know he's kind of a speed demon, but at his size, 6'3", 212, 30 over 31.5-inch arms, very ideal. Probably really helped his stock. I've heard very good things about him and the drills. We'll talk about another receiver at the end of the list here, so I don't want to talk about him here. I do want to hit up on Michael Wilson. Where do I have you here? Because remember, this is strictly just the weigh-in. I mean, I'll talk a little bit about the practice, the drills from what I saw, but I really just want to focus in on measurements here. And Michael Wilson, 6'1", 216, just came in with almost 10-inch hands, 31-inch arm length, like just ideal measurements there. So yeah, Derius Davis probably ended up a faller here. Did have like a late day 3 grade on him. That's probably going to be down further. Don't talk about Trey Tucker in this video, or I don't have an overlay for him, but he was another guy that also hit a lot of the under, but he's working with 20 more pounds. Than Davis here, so a bit more ideal. They both have very similar return abilities, so it's like you're gonna probably weigh Trey Tucker over Derius Davis. On to the next, Julius Brents. So actually, multiple clips of him actually were pretty impressive. Already did really good in the 11-on-11 and 7-on-7 drills, and he was by far the biggest corner here. 6'3", 202, almost an 83-inch wingspan, arm length almost 34 inches, then 9.5-inch arms, huge. And you know what? He looked good. The movement skills looked good. Will he have great change of direction? It's so-so. That's one of my biggest questions with him. But I think he did a lot to help his stock, where he could maybe even be a fringe day 2 guy. I thought he was very, very impressive. And again, the numbers were just huge for him. So we like, the first guy you think of when you look at these numbers is like, oh, Tyreek Woolen came in that build. He's not on like par, I think, speed wise as Tyreek Woolen. He was kind of a freak in that regard, but like Brents, I think, did a lot to help his stock. A lot of teams are gonna look at his size, look at that speed, and be like, yeah, it's pretty translatable at the next level. And I honestly think he could probably get into day 2. So hopefully he has another solid week. He has just a solid week of practice. And then I got Will McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. And honestly, it looks like he could probably eat some more, because I will say this, while like the measurements are appealing, this dude needs to put on bulk. He needs to put on some weight. 6'3", 241. Looked like a stick. But the wingspan's huge at 82 inches, 35-inch arms. Insane. But he really did look like a stick. You look at him and you're going to be concerned with power. You love the explosiveness. He looked very explosive in a handful of the one-on-ones. But you are going to worry about him when it comes to maybe having to turn speed to power or having to deal with power in general. That is going to be a concern. But I think, hey, this guy, you could probably put on some weight and be a-okay. Probably kind of solidified a day 2 status. Don't really see first round for him, but I could definitely see him somewhere in that 3rd round area. I thought he not only had a good day 1 of practice, but he ended up measuring out pretty darn well. Again, it was just the size, man. He needs to put on weight. Like, the dude was thin. And then we're going to go back to the offensive line with McLennan Curtis out of Chattanooga. These are just impressive numbers. Now, I haven't seen a clip from him, so I look forward to getting to watch him. But 6'6", 331, 84-inch wingspan, 35-inch arms. Holy moly. It makes you think, oh, man, if this guy's movement skills are good enough, then he could probably make it a tackle in the NFL. Like, it's a real possibility. Though I will note from his tape, the footwork's not always great with him, and he could be a bit clunky in his movements. The tools are there, but I mean, regardless, then you just got a guard with exceptionally good length, which is a-okay, which is fine. I kind of want to talk about some of the other guys there. Osiris Torrance, I thought looked really good from a physical perspective. That he shedded about 10 pounds from his playing days at Florida, like it was years ago, but just this past season. But he shedded some weight, and he looked good. He looked a bit more ripped, bit more healthy. So that was pretty positive. We don't have any no Andrew Voorhees here, unfortunately, which made me sad. I would say John Michael Schmitz had good measurements for the interior, as did Steve Avila. I mean, honestly, a lot of the interior prospects measured out pretty darn well. I think Jared Patterson was probably the one guy that ended up like with sub measurements compared to at least the rest of the guys there. But we kind of know what we're getting, like, baseline when it comes to cat like Jared Patterson. He's his probably mid to late day 3 guy that you think could be a solid player in the right scheme. But yeah, man, Curtis, hell of a way in. All right, on to Lonnie Phillips, and this one's a faller for me. It kind of breaks my heart because I was a big fan of this cat during the season. He was a guy that was kind of on my sleepers list coming into the year based on what we saw him do at Miami, Ohio. He transfers to Kansas, and he kind of had these hot and cold spells. But 6'2", 251, 32-inch arms, and not even close to 33. When you're playing on the outside there, you want those 33-inch arms. It's not necessary, but it's ideal, and just didn't get to that threshold, man. It really made me sad. There were a few guys that were under 33 inches, but like barely. Like, you have guys like KJ Henry, you have Dylan Horton, but they were just like literally like an eighth of an inch under the 33 inches, which it's like, yeah, it's fine. These guys could probably get by on that. That'll be a-okay. But with Lonnie Phelps, man, probably turns him into more of a late day 3, like a 6th, 7th rounder. Unfortunately, unless he couldn't really come out and show out. Didn't really see much of anything on him clip wise, but I look forward to seeing how he did yesterday. I guess this morning. All right, let's keep moving with CARLTON Martell out of Troy, and I had him as a UDFA. I knew he was going to come in small, but this is really small. 5'7", 210, 29, and almost got to 30-inch length, 71-inch wingspan, 72 technically. It's close enough there, but like you ain't gonna cut it at linebacker at that size. Unfortunately, you really aren't. I don't know a role he can play. Like this isn't a guy you could dump into the slot and feel great about. I don't think he's got that type of speed. I don't think he's got that type of just movement skills. He's not really the sideline to sideline guy. And I think this was just unfortunately for a really, really good college player, another kind of nail in the coffin of his draft stock. I will mention Dorian Williams here, as his measurements came out real good. I thought he came in and 6'1", 228, and almost 33-inch arms. He had pretty big hands on top of that. So actually, I thought he came in and he hit thresholds. I'm looking forward to see how he did. Not though linebacker, you get to know more on the game than you'd really do from the practices. Diane Henley looking jacked, looked great. Got another guy with 33-inch arms, 6'1", 230. So just want to kind of mention a couple of those guys who I thought came in looking and weighing good. We had a couple of other guys that weighed in really small. Like here you have Servassier Dennis came in sub 220. D Winters 5'11", 223. Though I will say Dennis at least has that length going for him with 33-inch arms. Yeah, but like, man, it really bums me out. Like, Carlton was a guy that you just love his play in college, and just don't know if it'll translate to the next level. And I want to get to this is the other receiver I was talking about. DONTAYVION WICKS out of Virginia measured out the biggest when it came to arms and wingspan. 80-inch wingspan, 32 and a 6/8 inch. I don't know how 6/8 inch. I don't know. Almost 33-inch arms. He was by far had the biggest wingspan of any receiver there. 6'1", 212. Very excited to see what he put on tape in the one-on-ones, because man, I mean those really. The one-on-ones really favor the receivers, so I'm really hoping he looked good. The measurements just look absolutely ideal. And I guess while we're here, we could probably talk about some other receivers that I probably did mention. Though I'd mentioned a good grip of them. Yeah, I feel like I mentioned a good grip of them already. I was a little sad about Xavier Hutchinson. I thought he'd come in with a bigger wingspan and better arm length than he did, and he just didn't. Came in with 31-inch arms, so like that kind of made me sad. I know Pukanuka at a BYU. I got to see some of his reps in the one-on-ones, and man, he looked impressive. He looked pretty darn good. Jaden Reed, I also heard had a good day, but again, I haven't gotten into all that. I can't wait till I do, so I could really fill y'all in on it. But lastly, I want to talk about my boy MARTE MAPU out of Sacramento State. He was by far the lengthiest safety there with an 80-inch wingspan, 33 and a 1/3 inch arms. Huge 6'2", 217. He absolutely looked the part. Didn't see any of his reps yet, so I'm very excited to see what those looked like. I know Sidney Brown is a guy I should mention here, as he came in just looking freaking ripped, dude. Really did. And it's kind of weird because him and Chase Brown are brothers, right? But Sidney Brown ends up 3 inches taller. Like, Sidney Brown's like 5'10", 213, opposed to Chase Brown coming in at, I guess it was 5'9". It was just an inch shorter. So no, they were about in the same range. Who was I thinking of at 5'7"? Oh, you know what? I'm thinking back at the Shrine Bowl with Mo Ibrahim. Man, all this just blends together after a time. But yeah, no, Sidney Brown looked jacked. We also had what was it? Jamie Robinson came in smaller than I was expecting. this really hurt my heart. Came in with sub 30-inch arms, 5'11", 194. Like, I love the physicality, like like his aggressive play style. But you gotta ask, will it hold up at the next level at sub 200? Like, I'd feel better if he was at the like 203 mark. And then again, you know, he doesn't have, like, I think even in my eval, I said length would be an issue, which I did. Yeah, he lacks ideal size and length, and especially now after the weigh-ins, because I don't think he necessarily has the range of a guy like Chris Smith, who 5'10", 188, but you know, he's got center fielder potential. Like, it's what he was doing for Georgia, so it's not exactly the same thing, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, like, Jamie Robinson, I'm hoping, has just a banger freaking week of practices, and we could just put this little hiccup behind us. But yeah, MAPU was the guy that I just can't wait to watch. He was one of my favorites at the NFL PA Bowl, and I'm hoping he's going to be one of my favorites at the Senior Bowl. But let me know what were some of the measurements that surprised you in the weigh-in. And that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.